Hello everyone. Good morning, Sir Julius. Good morning, classmates. Welcome to the discussion of the three middle range series of the authors Kolcaba, Swanson, and Beck. So I decided to have this discussion and video just in case I cannot attend the class on Saturday because of a scheduled power interruption in our place. So should you have any questions regarding the discussion, please feel free to message me through email or in Messenger for clarifications and further explanation. So the discussion will be brief, and the source of this PowerPoint presentation is the book from Martha Rail Aligood titled Nursing Theories and Their Work. So as I've mentioned, these three theories are middle range theories and they are precise and they answer specific middle nursing practice questions. So they address the specifics of nursing situations within the perspective of the model or theory from which they are derived. Of the three nursing theories, let us first discuss the theory of comfort by Dr. Catherine Kolcaba. So, in her personal communication in March 7, 2012, she quoted or she said that in today's technological world, nursing's historic mission of providing comfort to patients and family members is even more important. Comfort is an antidote to the stressors inherent in healthcare situations today. And when comfort is enhanced, patients and families are strengthened for the task ahead. In addition, nurses feel more satisfied with the care they are giving. Now, let's get to know Dr. Catherine Kolcaba. Dr. Catherine Kolcaba was born on December 28, 1944 in Cleveland, Ohio, and she is now 75 years old. She is an American theorist and a nursing professor at the same time. So she is responsible for the theory of comfort. It is a middle range nursing theory that has been implemented in the institutional level. So when we say institutional level, this has been practiced in hospitals, in long-term care facilities, care homes, and among others. In 1965, she received a diploma in nursing at St. Luke's Hospital School of Nursing. And then after her graduation, she practiced part-time for many years in the medical surgical unit and long-term care and also home care before returning again to school. So in 1987, she graduated in the first RN to MSN class at Case Western Reserve University, Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing, with a specialty in gerontology. So while in school, okay, so she is also working, okay, as a head nurse position on the dementia unit of the same um, university hospital that she is studying. It was in this practice context that she began theorizing about the outcome of comfort. In 1997, Dr. Kolcaba earned her PhD in nursing and received a certificate of authority as a clinical nursing specialist. Her education specialized in gerontology, end of life, and long term care interventions, comfort studies, instrument development, nursing theory, and also nursing research. So here are some highlights of Dr. Kolcaba's career life. She was a head nurse in the dementia unit of the Case Western Reserve University Hospital, and she also is a faculty in the University of Aiken College of Nursing, which is where she is currently working. She is a part-time faculty in Case Western Reserve University. She is an emeritus associate professor of nursing at the University of Aiken College of Nursing. She also worked as a faculty in Ursuline College in Mayfield Heights, Ohio, and she is also the owner of the Comfort Line Company. Uh, she is also the founder and coordinator of a local parish nurse program. As of this writing or as of this discussion, Dr. Kolcaba is currently serving as a associate professor of nursing at the Akron or University of Akron College of Nursing. And she has also received many awards, including the Cushing Robb Prize from Case Western Reserve University in 1987 for her outstanding work in a Master of Science in Nursing program and the Advancement of Science Award from Midwest Nursing Research Society for the End of Life and Palliative Care Nursing in 2003. In 2005, she was awarded the Mary Hanna Journalism Second Place Award in the Best Practice category by the American Society of Peri-Anesthesia Nurses for a co-written article published in the Journal of Peri-Anesthesia Nursing. She was also given the Murray Hogg Student Award for Excellence in Aging Studies from Case Western Reserve University in 1997. And most recently, she was given the Researcher of the Year Award with Dr. Theorist from the Delta Omega chapter of Sigma Theta Tau in 2006. Since retiring from teaching, Kolcaba has focused on volunteering with the American Nurses Association and the Honor Society of Nursing. Her publications include The Comfort Theory and Practice, a vision for holistic healthcare and research. Aside from her published work mentioned in the previous slide, these are some of her works. She worked on the concept analysis of comfort with her philosopher husband, in 1991, and she also diagrammed aspects of comfort in 1991. She also operationalized comfort as an outcome of care in 1992 and contextualized comfort in the middle range theory in 1994. She also tested the theory in an intervention study with Fox in 1999. Let's get to know Kolcaba's comfort theory. So, Kolcaba's comfort theory is considered a mid-range theory. So, a mid-range theory must meet the following criteria for mid-range. First, the concepts and propositions are specific to healthcare disciplines. So, we can apply this to, or the comfort theory is already applied to, or can already be applied to healthcare disciplines. Second, it is readily operationalized. Third, it can be easily applied to many situations. Fourth, propositions can range from casual and associative depending on their applications, and there should be assumptions fit to the theory. Now, Kolcaba developed her nursing theory in 1990s, so it is considered a middle range nursing theory designed for nursing practice, research, and education. And according to her theory, patient comfort exists in three forms. Number one, there should be relief, okay? Another form or another type of comfort should be ease, and third is the transcendence. Now, these comforts can occur in four contexts, such as physical, psychospiritual, environmental, and sociocultural. And relief comfort usually comes in form of pain management through medications. Now, when these medications are administered, the patient has a sense of release or relief from the pain. Ease of comfort is focused more on the environment and psychological state of the patient. For example, after issues of anxiety are addressed and dealt with, the patient feels at ease. And finally, transcendence comfort comes when the patient is able to rise above the challenges that occur in the care and recovery. And we can also say that the comfort theory is a humanistic, holistic theory that is based on patient needs. And where it all began is that it begins in nursing. Now, next we have the inductive stage of the comfort theory. So, how was the theory derived? Now, let's talk about first what is inductive stage or what is induction. Induction occurs when generalizations are built from a number of specific observed instances. When nurses are sincere about their practice and serious with nursing as a discipline, mahimo silang familiar with implicit or explicit concepts, terms, propositions, assumptions that underpin their practice. Now, during one of the conference in her graduate school, Kolcaba was asked to diagram her practice for dementia care by Dr. Rosemary Ellis. It is a deceptively easy sounding assignment. So, such was the scenario during the late 1980s as Kolcaba began. As she was the head nurse on an Alzheimer's unit in that time, in one of the hospitals where she worked, and knew that some of the terms used to describe the practice of dementia care, such as facilitative environment, accessibilities, and optimum function. However, kato siya mga terms, when she drew relationships among them, na-recognize niya that the three forms or the three terms did not fully describe her practice. Okay? So, an important nursing piece was missing, and she pondered about what nurses were doing to prevent the excess of disabilities. Later, na-name niya siya nga mga actions or interventions and how to judge if the interventions were working. There was also optimum function. Okay, optimum function had been conceptualized as the ability to engage in special activities on the unit. Okay, sa unit or sa ward nga asa nag-work si nurse, such as setting the table, okay, what else? Preparing food, okay, or going to a program nga gi-prepare para sa nurses and sitting through it. So these activities made the residents, okay, the residents of the dementia unit feel good about themselves as if it were the right activity at the right time. Now, these activities did not happen more than once a day because the residents couldn't tolerate much more than that. So, what were they doing in the meantime? And what behaviors did the staff hope they would exhibit that would indicate an absence of accessibilities? Should the term accessibilities be delineated further for clarity? So, partial solutions to these questions were to identify, number one, divide accessibilities into physical and mental. Second, introduce the concept of comfort to the original diagram, because this word seemed to convey the desired state of patients when they were not engaging in special activities. Third, note the non-recursive relationship between comfort and optimum functioning. So, this thinking marked the first steps toward the theory of comfort and thinking about the complexities of the concept. So, dito nag-start or dito nag-derive ang comfort theory ni Kolcaba. Now, ang framework sa comfort theory, she found out that the framework is applicable to many areas also, and therefore she began to study definitions of comfort and conceptual linkages. So, during that time, nangita si Kolcaba ang definition of comfort. Okay, the use of the word comfort was extremely varied. Okay, from the dictionaries, ngayang napangitaan. So, examples of the meanings of comfort are, number one, a cause of relief from discomfort, or it may mean a cause of the state of comfort, or the state of ease and peaceful contentment, or relief from pain. Okay, whatever gives pleasure and makes life easy. Okay, other definitions include strengthening, encouragement, and support, and physical refreshment, or sustenance. So those are examples of the usage of the word comfort. So in Kolkaba's definition of comfort, it is stated there that comfort is a state experienced by recipients of comfort interventions. Now, who are these are recipients of comfort interventions? So we have the patients and also the family members or the significant others. It is the immediate, holistic experience of being strengthened when one's needs are addressed for three types of comfort, namely the relief, ease, and transcendence, and in four contexts including the physical, psychospiritual, sociocultural, and environmental. Now, we have here the comfort theory. So, ang mga assumptions sa comfort theory is, in stressful healthcare situations, unmet needs for comfort are met by the nurse in the healthcare team. So, the theory of comfort contains three parts. We have the propositional, assertions to be tested separately or as a whole. Now, this part states that number one, interventions are successful if enhanced comfort is achieved by patient compared with previous baseline. So this part states that comforting interventions, kung effective sila, result in increased comfort for recipients. Okay, that includes the patients and the families, compared to a pre-intervention baseline. So, care providers may be considered recipients if the institution makes a commitment to the comfort of their work setting. Now, or comfort interventions also must address basic human needs such as rest, homeostasis, therapeutic communication, and treatment as holistic beings. These comfort interventions are usually non-technical and complement the delivery of the technical care. Second part, the immediate patient outcome of enhanced comfort is directly and positively related to patients engaging in health-seeking behaviors. Now, this part states that increased comfort of patients of care results in increased engagement in health-seeking behaviors that are negotiated with the recipients. Okay. Third, when patients engage in health-seeking behaviors, they do better and report high satisfaction in their healthcare. So this part states that increased engagement in health-seeking behaviors result in an increased quality of care. Okay? Kinsa ang mabenefit ang institution and its ability to gather evidence for best practices and policies. Now, one assumption in the comfort theory also is that high patient satisfaction leads to better institutional outcomes and higher institutional integrity. And this institutional integrity is conceptualized as the quality or state of healthcare corporations, okay, being complete, sound, and upright, and also honest and sincere. So we have here the conceptual framework for the theory of comfort. Okay, we have here the healthcare needs. Okay, so we have here the healthcare needs. Now, healthcare needs are comfort needs arising from stressful healthcare situations that cannot be met by the recipient's traditional support system. Okay, these needs may be physical, pwede po psycho-spiritual, pwede socio-cultural, pwede environmental. Okay? They become apparent through monitoring, verbal or nonverbal reports, pathophysiological parameters, education, and support and financial counseling and intervention. Now we must apply nursing interventions, specifically the comfort nursing interventions. So, comfort nursing interventions are nursing actions and referrals designed to address specific comfort needs of the recipients. Okay? It includes physiological, social, cultural, financial, psychological, spiritual, environmental, and physical interventions. Now, added to healthcare needs plus nursing interventions, we have intervening variables. Okay, what are these intervening variables? They are interacting forces that influence recipients' perceptions of total comfort. Okay, they consist of the past experiences, the age, the attitude, emotional state, support system. We also have the prognosis, finances, education, cultural background, and the totality of elements in the recipient's experience. So, such intervening variables have an impact on planning and success of the patient care interventions. Okay? So, kung i-add this lang tulo, okay, it will sum up to an enhanced comfort. Okay? A comfort, as defined by Kolcaba, is a state experienced by recipients of comfort interventions. So, it is immediate, okay? It is holistic experience of being strengthened when one's needs are addressed for the three types of comfort, namely the relief, ease, and transcendence, in four contexts that includes the physical, the psycho-spiritual, the social-cultural, and the environmental. Now, if there is an increased comfort, there are or health-seeking behaviors. So these health-seeking behaviors are composed of internal behaviors, peaceful death, and external behaviors. So now, these health-seeking behaviors compose of a broad category of outcomes related to the pursuit of health, as defined by the recipients in consultation with the nurse. So, manang na-synthesize siya and proposed to be the internals, the external, and the peaceful death. Now, we have institutional integrity. Okay? Institutional integrity, corporations, communities, schools, hospitals, regions, states, countries that possess the qualities of being complete, whole, sound, upright, plus appealing pa, ethical, and sincere, possesses institutional integrity. Now, when an institution displays this type of integrity, it produces evidence for best practices and best policies. Okay? So, kaning best practices na to, the use of healthcare interventions based on the evidence to produce the best possible patient and family outcomes is known as best practices. As to the best policies, institutional or regional policies ranging from protocols, okay, for procedures and medical conditions to access and delivery of healthcare are known as best policies. Okay? So mao ni isa sa mga gauge nga ah, na ay quality healthcare gi-provide ang isa ka institution, isa ka hospital. Kung naa sila ma-identify nga best practices, kung naa ma-acknowledge nga best practices and best policies. Okay, let's continue with the overview of the comfort theory. So, as defined, relief is a state of patient who has a specific need met. Okay, is defined as state of calm or contentment. Okay, so higher sa is na ang transcendence. Okay, a state in which one rises above one's problems or pain. So we have here a taxonomic structure of comfort. So the taxonomic structure provides a map, okay? A map of the context domain of comfort. So ang kaninga taxonomic structure of comfort, it enables us to identify comfort needs, okay? Para makadesign taog mga interventions targeted to those needs, and we can measure effectiveness of those interventions. So, it is anticipated that researchers will design instruments in the future such as questionnaire developed from this taxonomy for the end-of-life instrument. Okay? So, we have here in this part, in this cell, we have the types of comfort and the context in which comfort occurs. Okay? So, when we say physical, so it pertains to bodily sensations. Psychospiritual pertain to internal awareness of self, including esteem, concept, sexuality, and meaning in one's life, and also one's relationship to a higher order or being. Emotional context is it pertains to the external surroundings, conditions, and influences. And the social context pertains to interpersonal, family, and societal relationships. Okay, so this is the taxonomic structure of comfort by Kolcaba and Fisher. Okay, so this is an example of a holistic perspective of on comfort as an advanced directive. So we are now in the deductive stage of the comfort theory. So let's define first what is the deductive stage or deduction. So deduction occurs when specific conclusions are inferred from general premises or principles. So it proceeds from the general, okay, general to specific. The deductive stage of the theory development resulted in relating comfort to other concepts to produce a theory. So, naa diri ang first nga stage o nganong na-develop ang comfort theory. Okay? The concept analysis of comfort. So, during the time nga giignan si Kolcaba sa iyang teacher nga mag-develop og isa ka framework or i-diagram ang iyang work. Okay? So, it resulted in comfort being related to other nursing concepts to produce a theory. So, nangita og mga theories, okay, or definition si Kolcaba sa theory. Okay? So, nakita niya sa Oxford English Dictionary that comfort means to strengthen greatly. Okay? Nakita sa niya nga sa work ni Nightingale, observation is for saving life and increasing health and comfort. So, naagi hapon si word nga comfort. In a study of McKeevan and Morse, recovery was achieved through comfort. Okay? Ma-achieve ang recovery through comfort. Aikens in 1908 said comfort of patients was the nurse's first and last consideration. Okay? According to Aikens, comfort of patients was the nurse's first and last consideration. Harmer in 1926 said nursing care provides general atmosphere of comfort. Okay? Goodnow in 1935 said that comfort is both physical and mental, and the nurse's responsibility does not end with physical care. Okay? So all of these studies or all of these theories relate to comfort. Now, we have the deductive stage of comfort theory. So, since the work of kanini lang tulo ka mga theories was entailed in the definition of comfort, okay, si Kolcaba looked elsewhere for a common ground. Okay, nangita siya common ground needed to unify relief plus ease plus transcendence. Okay, what was needed was a more abstract and general conceptual framework that was congruent with comfort and contained a manageable number of highly abstract constructs. Now, the work of Murray, okay, in 1938 met the criteria for a framework on which to hang Kolcaba's nursing concepts. So, unsa ang iyang framework or unsa iyang theory? So, his theory was about human needs. Okay? I have here human needs. Okay? So, human needs ang theory ni Murray. So, his theory was about human needs, therefore it was applicable to patients who experience multiple stimuli in stressful healthcare situations. Now, furthermore, Murray's idea about unitary trends gave Kolcaba the idea that although comfort was state-specific, if naay mga comforting interventions nga ma-implement over time, the overall comfort of patients could be enhanced over time also. In this deductive stage of theory development, she began with abstract, padawong sa general theoretical construction, and then after sa general theoretical construction, use of sociological process of subtraction to identify more specific, okay, or less abstract levels of concepts for nursing practice. Okay? So, in the retroductive stage of comfort theory, okay, let us define first retroductive stage or retroduction. Okay, retroduction is useful in selecting phenomena. Okay, gamit siya kung mag-select og phenomena that can be developed further and tested. This type of reasoning is applied in the fields that have few available theories. Okay, such was the case with outcomes research, which now is centered on collecting databases for measuring selected outcomes and relating those outcomes to types of nursing, medical, institutional, or community protocols. Ang theory ni Murray, okay, or Murray's 20th century framework could not account for the 21st century emphasis on institutional and community outcomes. So, nag-level up naman ta. So, kinahanglan pod i-level up ang theory ni Murray. Mao nang Kolcaba Okay, using the retroduction, Kolcaba added the concept of institutional integrity to middle-range theory of comfort. So, adding the term extended the theory for consideration of relationship between health-seeking behaviors and institutional integrity. Now, in 2007, the concepts of best practices and best policies were linked to institutional integrity. The theory-based evidence organizes the knowledge base for best practices and the best policies. So, maoning na-devise si conceptual framework for comfort theory. Okay, because of the retroduction. So, the acceptance of the comfort theory of Kolcaba by the nursing community. So, nagamit siya sa nursing practice and also the midwifery practice. Okay? Nagamit sad siya sa hospice care. Okay? Nagamit siya sa perioperative nursing, sa long-term care. Okay? Dili lang sa medical field. Okay? Nagamit pod si theory of comfort sa mga stress college students. Okay? Nagamit siya sa mga dementia patients. Okay? Para sa palliative care. Okay? Also, in the CPG or formulation of clinical practice guidelines for the management of patient comfort. Nagamit sad ang comfort theory in terms of education. Okay? Nagamit siya sa mga accelerated baccalaureate nursing programs. Nagamit sad siya in formulation of comfort care plans. Okay? So, sometimes, dili lang nursing care plans sa tumbuhaton. Gamit sad ta og mga comfort care plans. Okay? The theory of comfort also guided ways of being a comforting faculty member para sa iyang mga students or para sa mga students. Okay? And also, the comfort theory is used in the making of the general comfort questionnaire. Okay? So, ang application ani niya, when nurses ask patients or family members to rate their comfort from 0 to 10 before and after an intervention or at regular intervals, they produce a documented evidence that significant comfort work is being done. Now, verbal rating skill is sensitive to changes in comfort over time. So, after assessing the levels of comfort of the patient, a list of effective comforting interventions for each patient or family member is readily available and communicated. Okay? With the use of the tools nga nahimo or derived out from the comfort theory. So, kaning mga para-anesthesia nurses, they have incorporated the theory of comfort into their CPG. Okay? As mentioned earlier. So, in this setting, comfort management specifies, number 1, you assess the patient's comfort needs related to current surgery, chronic pain issues, and comorbidities. Next, you will create a comfort contract with patients prior to surgery that specifies effective comfort interventions, nga understandable and efficient comfort measurement, and the type of post-surgical anesthesia preferred sa patient. Next, gibutang sa ilang CPG, facilitating comfortable positioning, body temperature, and other factors related to comfort during surgery. And fourth, continuing with the comfort management and measurement in the post-surgical period. Okay? So, mao siya ang application sa comfort theory sa nursing practice. Okay? So, in education, authors Goodwin, Senner, and Steiner describe the guidelines for applying the theory of comfort in accelerated baccalaureate nursing programs. Ang kanisyang theory proved to be easy for faculty to understand and apply and provided an effective method to role model a supportive learning partnership with the students. Okay? Pareha sa eskwelahan. Okay? Sa College of Nursing. So, kinahanglan nato ang comfort theory nga ma-develop sa mga students para puhon kung sila na ang mag-practice or mahimo na silang registered nurses, dili mawala sa ilaha ang pag-practice o pag-provide og comfort para sa mga patients. Okay? So next we have the critique the comfort theory. So in terms of clarity, okay, ang kaning comfort theory applies to specific practices using academic but understandable language. So all research concepts are defined theoretically and operationally. In terms of simplicity, okay, basic to nursing care and the traditional mission of nursing is being provided in the comfort theory. Okay? In terms of generality, okay, the comfort theory can be applied in numerous research settings, cultures, and age groups. In terms of accessibility, comfort theory or the comfort instruments have demonstrated strong psychometric properties, supporting the validity of the questionnaires as measures of comfort. And as to importance, the comfort theory describes patient-centered practice and explains how comfort measures matter to the patients, their health, and the viability of institutions. So that's it for Kolcaba's theory of comfort. Okay, next we have the postpartum depression theory of Dr. Cheryl Tatanobeck. So, quote unquote, the birth of a baby is an occasion for joy. And so the saying goes, but for some women, joy is not an option. Okay, so let's get to know Dr. Cheryl Tatanobeck. Now, Cheryl Tatanobeck, so, obtained her baccalaureate in nursing in 1970 in Western Connecticut State University. So she recognized during her first clinical rotation that obstetrical nursing was her lifelong specialty. So after graduation, back to work as a registered nurse at the Yale New Haven Hospital on the postpartum and normal newborn nursery unit. In 1972, she had graduated from Yale University with a master's degree in maternal newborn nursing and a certificate in nurse midwifery. In 1982, she received a doctorate in nursing science from Boston University. At present, she is a Director of Trustees Distinguished Professor, joint appointment in the School of Medicine, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Some of her works include Introduction to Phenomenology, secondary qualitative data analysis in the health and social sciences, and also the book on traumatic childbirth. So, what is the postpartum depression theory? So, postpartum depression theory is considered a middle range theory since it meets the criteria for being a mid range theory. Number one, concepts and propositions are specific to healthcare disciplines. Second, it is readily operationalized. Third, can be easily applied to many situations. And fourth, propositions can range from causal to associative depending on their applications. And lastly, assumptions fit to the theory. So, um, PPD or the postpartum depression theory is derived from using grounded theory approaches and identify social processes that occur in various social events. So it is also considered as an extensive inductive theory development in a specific area of nursing practice addressing a specific patient problem. So inductive logic is foundational to qualitative methods, with reasoning from the particular to general. In contrast, deductive reasoning, a move from the general to a particular, drawing conclusions that represent the general. Ang postpartum depression theory ni Beck is called a substantive theory of postpartum depression, found that loss of control was the basic psychosocial problem facing women, but this problem could also occur in contexts other than the postpartum period. So we have the different theoretical sources and philosophical sources of Beck's postpartum depression theory. First, we have Gene Watson's caring theory. So as mentioned, carrying caring as essential to nursing while acknowledging Watson's concern what quantitative methodologies may not adequately reflect the ideal of transpersonal caring. Also, in the the Colysis approach in phenomenology, um, it is stated there that how women experience postpartum depressions. In the grounded theory of Glaser, Strauss, and Hutchinson, this is where the evolution of grounded theory in nursing started. Okay. In Sitchel's and Russell's earthquake model, it suggests that women's genetic makeup, hormonal and reproductive history, and life experiences all combine to predict her risk of an earthquake, which occurs when her brain cannot stabilize and mood problems erupt. Um, in the work of Gable and Wolf in the instrument development in affective domain, it is stated in there that developing instruments that could predict and screen for postpartum depressions. So all of these sources dinhi nagkuha og base um, si Dr. Cherry Beck para sa iyang postpartum depression theory. So these are the major concepts and definitions of the postpartum depression theory. Number one, we have the postpartum mood disorders. Okay, there are um, five identified postpartum mood disorders. Okay, number one is the postpartum depression. So in postpartum depression, okay, so it is a non-psychotic major depressive disorder with distinguishing diagnostic criteria uh, that often begins as early as 4 weeks after birth. Okay, pwede pod nga ma-occur siya anytime within the first year after the childbirth. So that is considered postpartum depression. So we can consider it as postpartum depression if it falls to the criteria of being a postpartum depression given in this definition. We have the maternity blues. Okay, maternity blues or postpartum blues or baby blues is a relatively transient. Okay, transient and self-limited period of melancholy and mood swings during the early postpartum period. Okay, so again, transient and limited siya nga period of melancholy during the early postpartum period. So, in postpartum psychosis, okay, ang postpartum psychosis, it is already considered a psychotic disorder. Okay, characterized by hallucinations, delusions, agitation, and insomnia or inability to sleep, along with bizarre and irrational behavior. Okay, another postpartum method disorder is the postpartum OCD or the postpartum obsessive compulsive disorder. Now, it is like a general OCD pero um naa siya'y kalabutan sa pregnancy. Okay? Symptoms include repetitive, intrusive thoughts of harming the baby. Okay? And repetitive and intrusive thoughts of harming the baby and the fear of being left alone with the infant. And also hypervigilance in protecting the infant. Okay? So we also have the postpartum onset panic disorder. Okay? So acute onset anxiety, fear, rapid breathing, heart palpitations, and sense of impending doom. So kana di ang nakita nato sa mga salida. Okay, dili na din na siya kuan tanan. Postpartum blues tanan. Okay, so naay nagkalahi-lahi nga mga postpartum disorders specific sa mga signs and symptoms o sa interval and also the duration of these signs and symptoms. Okay, and next to that is we have the loss of control. So, in loss of control, na ay upat ka klase. Okay, upat ka klase nga loss of control. Okay, we have the encountering terror. Okay, encountering terror consisted of horrifying anxiety attacks. Okay, so enveloping fogginess and relentless obsessive thinking. Okay, so that's encountering terror. We also have dying of self. Okay, dying of self. Okay, it consisted of alarming unrealness, contemplating and attempting self-destruction. Okay, self-destruction and isolating oneself. Okay, so pwede ang suicidal thoughts is makonsidered siya as a dying of self. Struggling to survive consisted of battling with the system, seeking solace at support groups, and praying for relief. Okay. Next to that is regaining control. In regaining control, it consists of unpredictable transitioning. Okay, transitioning, guarded recovery, and mourning lost time. Okay, so those are for the loss of control. Next, we have the prenatal depression. In prenatal depression, okay, it's a depression that occurs during any or all of the trimesters of pregnancy. Okay, so before nanganak, okay, prenatal depression. Okay, depression during any or all of the trimesters of pregnancy has been found to be the strongest predictor of postpartum depression. So, most likely, patients with prenatal depression, pwede na silang magka-postpartum depression. Okay? Pwede na silang magka-postpartum depression. Okay? So, we have childcare stress. Okay, in childcare stress, it pertains to a stressful events related to childcare, such as infant health problems and difficulty in infant care pertaining to feeding and sleeping. Okay, so we also have life stress. Okay, so it's overall. Life stress is an index of a stressful life events during pregnancy and also the postpartum. Okay, the number of life experiences during and the amount of stress created by each of the life events are combined to determine the amount. Okay, the summation or to determine the amount of life stress a woman is experiencing. Okay, next is we have the different the social support. Go. So our social support pertains to the instrumental support. Okay, for example, kanang pag-take care sa bata. Okay, babysitting, help with the household chores, and emotional support. Okay? So, naay kalabutan sa uban nga members sa family. Okay? So, we have the prenatal anxiety. Okay? Prenatal anxiety occurs during any trimester or thought or throughout the pregnancy. Okay? Anxiety refers to feelings of uneasiness or apprehension concerning the vague and non-specific threat. Okay? Kung naay prenatal depression, na po prenatal anxiety. Next is we have the marital satisfaction. What is a marital satisfaction? It is a degree of satisfaction with the marital relationship, and it is assessed, and it includes how happy or how satisfied a woman, okay, is with certain aspects of her marriage. Okay, for example, kanang pregnancy, okay, or kanang postpartum period, such as communication, affection, similarity of values in terms of finances, childcare, mutual activity, decision making, and global well-being. Okay? We have the history of depression. So, ako na ingon kaganina, if nakaka-history of prenatal depression, most likely, maka-experience sad ka og postnatal depression. Okay? So, a woman in history of depression, if there is a report of having had a bout of depression before this pregnancy. Okay? Before the pregnancy. Now, we have infant temperament. Okay, temperament is the infant's disposition and personality. Okay, ang mga difficult temperament describes the infant who is irritable, kanang sige og ilak. Okay, kusog kay muhilak, okay, fuzzy, gamay kuan muhilak dayon, unpredictable, and difficult to console. Lisod kayo patahanon ang baby. That's infant temperament. We have maternity blues. Okay, maternity blues was previously defined as a non-pathological condition after giving birth. Pregnancy blues or maternity blues. We have self-esteem. So it's a combination of self-worth and self-acceptance. Okay, a woman's global feelings of self-worth and self-acceptance, and it is her confidence and satisfaction in self. So we also have the socioeconomic status. Okay, so a person's rank or status in the society involving a combination of social and economic factors like the income, the education, and the occupation. The marital status is given a while ago. Okay, marital status we have that's marital satisfaction. The marital status is woman standing in regard to marriage. Okay, kung single ba, married ba, cohabitating, divorced, widowed, separated, or partnered. Okay, in unplanned or unwanted pregnancy, it is defined as a pregnancy that refers to a pregnancy nga wala giplano or it is unwanted. Okay? Of a particular note is the issue of pregnancies that remain unwanted after initial ambivalence. Okay? We also have sleeping and eating disturbances. Okay? So, dili makatulog ang mother when the baby is asleep. Okay? Magsigig limbag-limbag, tossing and turning before actually falling asleep and bumata tunga-tunga sa gabi and difficulty or maglisod na og katulog og balik. Okay? So, anxiety and insecurity. So, over-attention to relatively minor issue. Gamay lang nga issue. Okay? Nya, na ay overreaction or over-attention to these minor issues. Feelings of jumping out of one's skin and feeling the need to keep moving or pacing. For the emotional ability, okay, so emotional ability is a woman experiencing emotional ability, okay? So when in emotional ability, it has a sense of her emotions are unstable, okay, or out of control. Okay, mo na siya sa lability. Okay? So it is commonly characterized by crying for no particular reason, okay? Being labil or liable to change or easily altered, unpredictable, okay, very unpredictable. Um, Usahay, irritable kaayo, okay, masuko lang kalit, okay, grabe nga kasuko, and fear of never being happy again. That's emotional lability. Mental confusion is characterized by inability to concentrate or to focus on task, okay, or to make a decision, okay. So there's general feeling of being unable to regulate one's own thought processes. And we have the loss of self, okay. The loss of self, ang kaning ang aspect, okay, sa iyang kinabuhi of self that reflected their personal identity have changed since the birth of their infant. Okay, murag feeling nila is dili na sila or lahi na, okay? Dili na sila pariha sa katong before sila nanganak. So they cannot identify who they really are and are fearful that they might never be able to be their real selves again. Okay, we also have guilt and shame. Okay, in guilt and shame, when a woman perceives that she is performing poorly as a mother and has a negative thoughts regarding the infant, okay, so she feels guilty, she feels ashamed of herself because of the functions or because of the things that she cannot do or perfectly do for the infant or for the baby. We have suicidal thoughts. Women experience suicidal thoughts when they have frequent thoughts of harming themselves and ending their lives to escape the living nightmare of postpartum depression. Okay, so we have here the use of empirical evidence in Beck's postpartum depression theory. Okay, so ang kaning postpartum theory ni Beck, naghimo siya isa ka libro, okay, that contains a substantive theory of postpartum depression titled Teetering on the Edge with Loss of Control. And there are 14 other studies that refine the theory by examining the experiences of postpartum depression on mother-child interactions, postpartum panic, PTSD, birth trauma to tease out differences among the postpartum mood disorders previously mentioned. Okay, and this theory of Beck, okay, also use, okay, or has also been used in 10 qualitative studies of postpartum depression of women from a wide variety of geographic locations and culture. So, meaning, dili lang siya sa US nagamit pod siya in other countries, in other cities, okay, with different race, okay, and with different culture. So, the major assumptions in this postpartum depression theory is number one, nursing is a caring profession with caring obligations to persons we care for, okay? Or sometimes students, okay? Students and each other. And interpersonal interaction between nurses and those for whom we care are the primary ways nursing accomplishes the goals of health and wholeness. Okay, so we also have persons are described in terms of wholeness. Persons have biological, sociological, and psychological components. Now, next we have health is the consequence of a woman's responses to the context of their lives physically. Okay, physically and to the context of their environment. So, all contexts of health are vital to understanding any singular issue of health. The theoretical assertions in Beck's postpartum depression theory includes the brain can biologically accommodate various stressors. Okay, it can accommodate various stressors, whether related to internal biology or the external events. Second, we have stressful events, may it be internal or external, particularly over long periods, cause disruption of the biochemical regulation of the brain. So, the more insults, okay, to the brain, the more chronically deregulated the brain becomes. Because an already deregulated brain is challenged again with the new stressors, it is likely that serious mood and psychiatric disorders will result. Next, we have women's unique and normal brain and hormonal chemistry result in vulnerability to mood disorders at critical times in their lives, including after giving birth. We also have postpartum depression is caused by a combination of biological, including genetic, psychological, social, relational, economic, and situational life stressors. Okay, so postpartum depression is not a homogeneous disorder. Okay, so when we say women may express postpartum depression with a single symptom, but are more likely to have a constellation of other varying symptoms. This is related to varying life histories of internal and external stressors. Now, culturally, women are expected to feel happy, okay, look happy, act happy, and understand how to be a mother naturally, and experience motherhood with a sense of fulfillment. Okay, now these expectations make it difficult for women to express genuine feelings of distress. Okay, we have the stigma attached to mental illness increase dramatically when a mental illness is related to birth of a child, leading women to suffer in silence. Okay, so mo nang ubang mga mama is di na lang sila magsaba-saba. Okay, kay tungod because of social stigma. Okay, next, within a level of prevention framework, postpartum depression can be prevented through identification and mitigation of risk factors during the pre-partum period. Postpartum depression can be identified early. Okay, pwede siya ma-identify early with careful screening. Okay, mo nang magamit taog po PDSS, postpartum depression screening scale. Okay, that can be used. Naghihimo gihapon ni Beck, okay, ni Cheryl Beck. And then, what else? Postpartum depression can be identified early with careful screening and can be treated effectively. So, prevention can alleviate months of suffering and decrease the harmful effects of women, their infants, and also the families. Okay. Now, next, a number of biological and sociological and psychological issues and challenges are entirely normal in all pregnancies. This may include fatigue, sleep alterations, questioning of one's abilities, and the like. So, dapat na ay comprehensive prenatal and postnatal care because it can eliminate troublesome pathological symptoms and can help women normalize expected outcomes, thus reducing the degree of stress they actually experience. So we have the theory of postpartum depression by Beck, as accepted by the nursing community. Now, the PDSS, or the postpartum depression um, screening scale, okay, became a standard of care for women in high-risk obstetric clinics in the US, okay, specifically the Medical University of South Carolina Hospital. So, dili lang kani siyang hospital ang naggamit sa PDSS, the screening scale, but also other hospitals in the country and sa lain pod nga mga hospitals in the world. As for the education, Beck is frequently invited speaker for professional educational conferences and workshops. And she was frequently cited in nursing, maternal, and newborn nursing texts. Okay, and her works sets the standard of knowledge for understanding about postpartum depression. So, dili lang sa nursing, apil na pod sa mga in the field of medicine. Now, in the field of research, she has received numerous awards regarding the importance of her research, and nurses increasingly are using Beck's work for masteral and doctoral studies or level research, and she facilitates practice implementation research for academic and non-academic sites. Okay, so as to the critique of her work or her theory, as to clarity, the concepts are defined in clearly and consistently. As to simplicity, it follows a logical progression specific to observations made in nursing practice, and it is accessible empirically and theoretically. As to the generality, the postpartum depression is narrow. It's a narrow experience. So, dili tanang pregnant women or postpartum women maka-experience of postpartum depression. However, its nature and causation are especially complex. Okay. As to the accessibility, the PDSS is reliable. Okay. It is considered valid screening instrument for detection of postpartum depression. So, an important feature of a theory is its immediate accessibility and dynamic potential to impact women's lives. And as to the importance, okay, so ang awareness of postpartum depression uh, and the responsibility for identification of early intervention of postpartum depression belongs to more than those who are primarily responsible for caring women during pregnancy and immediately after birth. Okay, so that's it for the theory of Beck, um, her postpartum depression theory. Next, we have the theory of caring by Dr. Kirsten Swanson. So, quote unquote, caring is a nurturing way of relating to valued other toward whom one feels personal sense of commitment and responsibility. Okay, so the credentials and the background of um, Swanson. So she was born in Providence, Rhode Island in 1975. She graduated magna cum laude in the University of Rhode Island College of Nursing. In 1978, she graduated or she obtained graduate studies the adult health and illness nursing in the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and she also had her nursing or PhD nursing program at the University of Colorado in Denver. There, she studied psychosocial nursing with an emphasis on the concepts of loss, stress, coping, interpersonal relationships, person and personhood environments, and also caring. So, as to her career, she is a registered nurse in the University of Massachusetts Medical Center in Worcester. She is also a clinical instructor of the medical surgical nursing in the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing. So, She began her career studying the effects of miscarriage on mothers, identifying the human experience and response to this event. Now, during her career, she emphasized caring as an interested and was mentored by few nursing theorists for the models of caring. Mao nang uban sa iyahang mga theoretical foundations. Okay, katupong nagtabang sa iyahang mga nursing theorist. So, during her work in the neonatal intensive care unit as a nurse, she was able to identify the similarities of caring for mothers after miscarriage and of parents of children in the neonatal intensive care unit. Okay, so what is the theory of caring? It is a good nursing is caring for the client's physico-social and spiritual well-being by first knowing the client's reality, second being emotionally and physically present for the patient, and third by doing for and enabling the patient. So it is not solely the patient's responsibility but also the nurse's responsibility, okay, to care for the patients and the significant others. So the theory of caring is an all-inclusive care in a complex environmental, embraces balance among caring, attaching, managing responsibilities, and avoiding bad outcomes. Okay, so this theory of caring, okay, so when she began her nursing at the University of Colorado with a focus on psychosocial nursing and having emphasis on exploring the concepts of loss, stress, coping, interpersonal relationships, person and personal environments, and caring. And motong na-mention ka ganina that she found joy in being entrusted to give care to patients during hard times. Mo nang na-create ang theory of caring. So, the theory of caring, Swanson began her PhD career focusing on caring by working with women who experienced loss of miscarriage. Okay, so dito nga idea or by that kato nga situation ako si Swanson og idea nga why not create this kind of theory para ani nga mga significant others or para ani nga mga patients. So now she chose Dr. Jean Watson as her mentor. Okay, kay ang isa sa framework sa theory of caring is the Watson's theory of human caring. And both theories assert that compatibility of findings on caring adds credibility to their theoretical assertions. Okay, so Swanson credits several nursing scholars for insights that shape her beliefs about the nursing discipline and influence her program of research. So, motong isa si Swanson, okay, also Dr. Catherine Barnard, okay, so she encouraged her to make a transition from the interpretative to contemporary empiricist paradigm. So while the postdoctoral fellow, she found that caring for women who miscarried was very similar to caring for parents in healthcare providers taking care of infants in the NICU. So aside from Dr. Jean Watson, Catherine Barnard, si Dr. Jacqueline Fawcett's course on conceptual basis of nursing practice led Swanson to understand the differences between the goals of nursing and other health disciplines and to realize that caring for others as they go through life transitions of health, illness, healing, and dying was congruent with her personal views. Okay, so we have the concepts of theory in the theory of caring, that caring is a nurturing way of relating to a valued other toward whom one feels a personal sense of commitment and responsibility. By knowing, it is attempting, okay? Attempting mo to understand the meaning of an event in the life of the other. Okay? You avoid assumptions. You focus only on the person cared for. You assess, you seek cues, you assess meticulously and engage both the one caring and the one cared for in the process of knowing. So, in doing for means to do for others what one would do for self at all possible. Another concept of caring is enabling. Okay, it means facilitating the other's passage through life transitions and unfamiliar events. And we also have another concept of maintaining belief, which is to sustain health and the other's capacity to get through the event or transition and uh, face future with meaning and believing in others' capacity and holding or her him or her him or her high in esteem, maintaining a hope-filled attitude and offer realistic optimism, helping to find meaning and understanding by one cared for no matter what the situation is. Okay, we have the concepts of the theory and its metaparadigm. The theory of caring identifies person as dynamic, okay, also growing, self-reflecting, and yearning to be connected with others and spiritual beings. So, she defined environment as any context that influences or is influenced by the design client. So there are different types of environment. We have the cultural, social, biophysical, political, economic, etc. So the environment and the person or the person clients are used interchangeably. Health and well-being is to experience wholeness where all facets of being are free to be expressed. And these facets include spirituality, thoughts, feelings, intelligence, creativity, femininity, relatedness, masculinity, sexuality, to name a few. So, we can also say that well-being is a complex process of curing and healing by including releasing inner pain. Okay, ipagawas ang inner pain, establishing new meanings, restoring integration, and merging into a sense of renewed wholeness. Other concepts of theory in the theory of caring is nursing is informed caring. Okay, for the well-being of others. Why? Because we use empirical knowledge from nursing and other disciplines. And we also use or observe ethical, personal, and aesthetic knowledge derived from the humanities, clinical experience, and personal and societal values and expectations. Now, in the theory of caring, nurses must be leaders in fighting for human rights, equal access to healthcare, and other humanitarian causes. And its goal, or the goal of nursing, is to promote the well-being of others. Now, let us focus on the strengths and the weakness of the theory of caring. So, as to the strength, it provides a sense of understanding and applicability in practice. So, pwede pod, ang caring, it may be manifested in a variety of ways. So, klase-klase nga mga pamaagi and in many practice contexts. Okay, dili lang sa nursing profession or sa medical profession. Now, it offers teachers of modern-day nursing a simple way of initiating students into the profession by immersing them in the language of what it means to be caring and cared for to promote, restore, or maintain optimal wellness. So, karon na kita na ko nga dili na kayo nga naka-caring ang mga nursing students. Lahi ra sa una og karon. Can be used in many disciplines such as teaching, social work, and medicine. And the concept is clearly defined and arranged in a logical sequence, and it is also simple. As to the weakness, okay, uh, it uh, it is tested and applied mainly with women. So, pwede pod nga ma-apply na to siya or ma-test na to siya on several populations within nursing. So, the theory of caring does not differentiate caring as slowly within the domain of nursing. So, as for its central values and beliefs, Okay? We have, the goal of nursing is to promote well-being of others. So, ang caring is grounded also in the maintenance of basic human being supported by knowing the client's reality conveyed by being emotionally and physically present for the patient and enacted by doing for enabling the client. Um, it is delivered as a set of sequential processes that are created by the nurse, philosophical attitude, understanding, mga verbal and non-verbal messages conveyed to the patient or to the client, the therapeutic actions, okay? Pwede pa therapeutic actions, non-verbal communications, consequences of caring. So that's it for my report on the theories of comfort, postpartum depression, and the theories of caring. Thank you and God bless.